What's happening, everybody? Live Dogs MMA here. I want to give you a quick breakdown of the card coming up. We got Nurmagomedov, Nurmagomedov versus Mikhail Olendzejczyk. And without further ado, let's bust it wide open. So first off, we got Cedric Dumas versus Denis Tulunin. And I think Cedric Dumas is a better striker. I think he's longer, he's younger. And so, yeah, I'm gonna try to make these quick. This is supposed to be a quick picks video, and I've been rambling on for too long. I'm doing it right now. So, but yeah, guys, Tulunin, I haven't liked anything I've seen about this guy. I think he's kind of in the UFC to be a person that they're gonna put in spots to lose. It's weird that this fight's on this card, but it was canceled before, so maybe they're just trying to get in, get it in where they can fit it in. Because I know they wouldn't want a Russian guy losing out there. I know it's not Russia, but they have a really good ties. So, but I don't know. He just doesn't do anything great. I do worry if Denis Tulunin gets Dumas down on the ground, he's not going to be getting back up, so it could be pretty boring. Dumas isn't really a submission guy. He does not have a great ground game, but he does have some submissions, so it's not unlikely that he could get one here. He's going to be my pick, Cedric Dumas, and I may even parlay him. Next up, we got Jai Herbert versus Rolando Bedoya. I think Bedoya is a solid underdog here, but I'm not going to take him. I like his aggression. I like his activity. I like that he's busy. I think Jai Herbert is not only older, but also he's a bit chinny. But if this fight stays kind of clean and it just goes to a decision, and Jai Herbert will steal these rounds from him. So Jai Herbert is my pick, but don't sleep on the underdog pick of Rolando Bedoya. And that KO prop's always live when Jai Herbert's in there because he is a bit chinny. But I'm picking Jai Herbert. Next up, we got my baby, Victoria Dudikova. She's so fine, she's so sexy, but is she a good fighter? She seems to be. She looks like she's on her way, to at least, maybe cracking the top 15, something like that, but we haven't seen enough of her. On the other side, she's facing Sam Hughes. This was a rough one for me. Women's MMA usually is, right? There's a lot of, I don't know, there's just a lot of what the hell factors, you know what I mean? I am gonna take Sam Hughes. And this is kind of a hunch. It's just something I'm going off of kind of my instinct here. But these Dana White Contender Series fighters, they usually lose their first and or second fight. A lot of times. They have a high percentage. It's definitely over 50%, over 55, over 65% that, they struggle. Because it's a show where Dana sees you get one good win and then says you're in the UFC. I mean, you just don't see enough. And if they don't see enough, we don't see enough. Dudikova could definitely win. And to be honest, if you're someone who really wants to play it smart, I would avoid this fight. I would even take Dudikova. I'm telling you. But something's telling me Sam Hughes is the kind of girl that beats her. She's young, she's less experienced. It's one of her first fights in the UFC. Sam Hughes is not great anywhere, but she's decent everywhere. And if she's able to set the pace in any way, she can steal these rounds from Dudikova. So for an underdog, she's live. Even more live, in my opinion, than Bedoya. So I am tentatively going to pick Sam Hughes. Next up, Guram Kudrladze versus Jordan Vucenic. I like Jordan Vucenic. I have seen a couple of his fights in Cage Warriors. His hands are okay. His submissions are good. He's a young dude, hungry, and I think he'll do good things in the UFC. I'm not saying he's going to be champion, but I think he's going to do good things. That being said, he's moving up a weight class, and he's taking on a guy like Guram Kudrladze. That's a tough ask for a debuting fighter. And back to those stats I mentioned before, debuting fighters, they lose upwards to 55-65% as well. So it's just never, you know, especially when this is kind of short notice. Actually, this is short notice. So I don't know. I just think it's a tough out. It's a big ask for a guy like Jordan Vucinic right now, or Vucinic, I'm sorry. So outside of maybe like a Hail Mary submission, I just feel like Gurum's got this. So I'm going to take Kudradladze, and I'm confident in that. Next up, another fight I'm confident in. We got Shamil Gaziev versus Dontel Mays. Shamil Gaziev should beat Dontel Mays. Even if you think Shamil Gaziev ain't all that, even if you're mad about the Rosenstrike fight, which I'm not, by the way, I picked Rosenstrike. I thought it was easy. It's just one of those fights, man. The striking, because Shamil Gaziev is he's just a blob, dude. He doesn't have striking. He can't contend with that. You know what I mean? But he's probably got a higher ceiling now, if you're looking at him now, because he is a good guy. He is a good fighter. And I think he's going to give Dontel Mays trouble. I think he's going to build back a little rapport with the people, and he's going to get a win here, and I'm confident in that. So, Gaziev. Next up, Muhammad Yahya versus Kawhi. I never could say his name, but it's Kawhi Fernandez. I don't know a whole lot about either one of these guys. I have obviously seen their recent fights. I know Fernandez lost to Mark DeCasey, and I think he got handled in the wrestling. And you know, that's not really a good look. That being said, DeCasey kind of stepped it up, you know, and I think he's improved. And Muhammad Yahya just kind of sucks, man. You know what I mean? I actually picked Trevor Peek to beat him, and there's a world where that's a possibility, even if they rematch. So I mean, he just don't do anything good. He's sloppy. He looks like he doesn't take shots well. I don't know. He could come out and shock us, but I feel like if you're betting on Yahya, you're throwing money down the toilet. So give me Fernandez. Next up, Alonzo Minifield versus Azamat Murzakanov. This is a close one. Alonzo Minifield is a dog. I think he's live here, especially if it goes late. You know, they're both tired. He's still going to carry that power. He's always a solid dog because of that. But at the end of the day, I'm going to take Azamat Murzakanov because I think he's the more well-rounded fighter. I just think he's better everywhere overall. I think he can put a pace on him. He's got the home court advantage. He's a big dude, and he hits pretty hard too. And you find Alonzo Minifield is often out of spots. I don't know how else to say that. I'll work on the way I say things. Trust me, I'm trying my best to sound a little more professional. I'm from Louisiana, so we talk a little different. You know, we use a slang, but I'm working on it. So I'm trying not to just fire off stuff. I'm trying to say things. But but where's I going with that? Oh, anyways, yeah, he's just out of position a lot, and I don't like that. So wouldn't be shocked if he gets the dub. But I'm gonna play the safe bet here. Go with the hometown guy, Azamat Murzakanov. Next up, we got Yoel Alvarez versus Elvis Brenner. I'm taking Elvis Brenner, and I think I'm not sure, but he's probably, because I haven't put out my underdog, my live dog of the week, my underdog block. I have not put that out yet. I will put that out tomorrow. So check my page, Live Dogs MMA. Make sure you check the page, y'all. That's where I post a lot of stuff. I post my parlays and all that. And I may start doing that here, but I mean, come on, ain't nobody watching this. So, you know, I mean, it's pretty low effort at this point. But my picks are not. What I'm telling you is thought out, you know. I do kind of just do it off the dome, but it's working for me all right so far, so we'll keep with it. Anyways, Yoel Alvarez is the better fighter, but he's coming off a layoff. He's coming off an injury, and he should beat up Elvis Brenner. But if Elvis Brenner cannot get submitted, can scramble, can get out of that first round and a half, he still carries his power, man. Elvis Brenner, I have a feeling, is going to land that power again. He's done it to us, what, once, twice? A couple times. where he doesn't look great, and then bam, he hits you with that quitter. So I wouldn't be shocked if he does it here. I'm gonna go out on a limb. I'm gonna take that. Y'all know we're live dogs MMA. You know we like to chase the dogs, and I'm chasing this one. So I'm gonna go with Elvis Brenner by KO, and I think he'll get it done. If not, he's getting submitted though. Let's be real. But yeah, Elvis Brenner for me. Next up, Mackenzie Dern versus Lupe Godinez. Struggle with this one a little bit, and I don't like Mackenzie Dern. I know there's a lot of simps out there that do. She's got a nice body, but I personally think she looks kind of like a horse. She's got a real gummy smile. Something about it just don't sit right with me. Kind of looks like she smells something all the time. You know what I mean? Good looking, you know what I mean? Considering all that though, but just yeah, I don't simp for her. I think her BJJ is obviously good, but everything else around it kind of stinks. Lupe Godinez came out and was on fire, looked like she was really going to contend in this division, but lately she's fallen off, guys. I think her fight IQ needs some work, or maybe she needs to go to a different gym, get different coaches. Has she got out of Canada yet? I don't know. Canadians don't even want to be there, and she's Mexican, so she needs to get out of there and go somewhere else, because she's just not been looking great for me. I think if you're picking her, I'm not mad at you. But for me, I think Mackenzie Dern's going to get this, because if Lupe wrestles, she's probably going to get submitted. And the striking, she is the better striker, of course, but she ain't devastating. She ain't. I don't think she's going to be finishing anybody. So I think the favorite is the safe bet here. I'm going to go with Mackenzie Dern. Next up, Old Faithful Tony Ferguson versus Michael Chiesa. Michael Chiesa is not a world beater. If anybody can lose to Tony Ferguson at this stage of the game, it could be Michael Chiesa. Dude hasn't fought in 2 years. He didn't fight a whole year before the last fight he had. I don't know what he's doing, man. At one time, he seemed like he could have been a player in this sport, but I guess time just caught up with him and injuries, and his heart just don't seem in it anymore. But that being said, I'm sure at this stage of the game he's going to beat Tony Ferguson, out wrestle him, probably even submit him, man. So yeah, I don't see. I'm not putting any money on this fight. I'm not putting any money on this fight, and you probably shouldn't either. But Michael Chiesa will win. Next up, my man Marlon Vera, big Marlon Vera fan, versus Deiveson Figueiredo. Deiveson Figueiredo, I was not a fan of him. I always went with Brandon Moreno in those fights, and I really like Brandon Moreno, and so of course, you know, I didn't go for Deiveson. But Deiveson at 135, money. I was worried about it, but the guy's money, man. He's looking good, looking well-rounded as usual, still carrying his speed. I think he can pick apart a guy like Marlon Vera. I don't know if he can finish him, because Marlon Vera is hard to finish, and you know, Deiveson Figueiredo, even though he's got even though he's got some crack, some pop, I don't know if he's got enough coming up from flyweight. So I see a finish. I mean, I do not see a finish. I see Deiveson Figueiredo piecing up Vera and winning a clean decision. Yeah, I hate to pick against Vera. He's always live, but I don't know, man. I just think this is a clear decision win for Figueiredo, and I would parlay that. Then we got the Ginger Stanny, Shara Magomedov versus Mikhail Olendzejczyk. I jumped the gun as soon as I saw Mikhail Olendzejczyk. I actually put a bet on him, because I haven't been impressed with Shara Bullet. Now, I wanted him badly in the UFC. I followed this guy, seen a few of his fights before he got to the UFC, and I was telling everybody, the Ginger Stanny is coming for everybody. And I don't like what I've seen. But I think a lot of that is the people he's fought, you know, so give him a guy like Mikhail Olendzejczyk, and he should be able to style on him. He should be able to shine. If he does not stay active though, if he doesn't come out with some fire, with some heat, really start using those kicks and get that range, don't think for a second that Mikhail can't land some bombs on him and hurt him. Mikhail is an underrated guy despite his flaws. But he said a lot of stuff about, you know, maybe retiring and I don't know, on Twitter, and not liking this and not liking that, and so I don't know, I worry about his mental state going into this, and that's why I'm kind of backpedaling on my pick. Plus, let's be honest, I mean, I really think they set this fight up for Nurmagomedov. And you have to realize, you know, the UFC and the matchmakers, they know a lot more than we do. It's no secret that they know what they're doing when they set these fights up, and they know why they're putting hometown guys, or somewhat hometown guys, you know, in these spots. They expect to win here, and I'm not going to doubt them. So I'm going to go with Magomedov. Then we got the main event: Corey Sandhagen versus Umar Nurmagomedov. Nurmagomedov, everybody knows. If you got that name, badass wrestler, but he's got some good striking too, and he's got some power. I really wanted to pick Sandhagen, and I do have a bet on Sandhagen. I just like the underdog odds on him. He's a good guy, man. He's a good fighter. He can do it all. I just don't think he's going to have the right game plan for Umar. You want to beat these Dagestani guys, you got to get in their face. You can't be afraid of getting taken down, but you got to work your wrestling too. You've got to threaten your wrestling. You got to at least fake it. You know what I mean? Don't be afraid to wrestle with these guys. I know it sounds stupid, but I mean, look at it. It works, man. It's worked before. Even Dustin Poirier, you know, just getting in Islam's face, like he was able to do some good things in that fight. And a lot of them, they get most of their takedowns off the cage, especially Islam. You know what I mean? And he's really stepped his wrestling up. Corey has really stepped up a lot. He's long, he's rangy, he's got everything it takes to beat this fight. He might even be the better fighter. But I can't pick him because I just feel like at some point Nurmagomedov is going to get his back, and Nurmagomedov could end up choking him out, could threaten a lot of, could get him on the ground, keep him on the ground, threaten a lot of submissions, and maybe steal the round. I think it's a lot closer than the odds have it. But for me, I'm going to pick Umar Nurmagomedov. I will have a side bet on Corey Sandhagen, though, because I like him. And I think he's live in this, just like I said about Bilal and Curtis Blades, too. But, yeah, I mean, there's always a chance of an upset. And if anyone can do it, Corey can do it. But I'm playing it safe. I'm going with Nurmagomedov. So those are my picks. I appreciate everybody coming out, listening to me. Appreciate the love, appreciate the hate, appreciate the discourse. Let me know what you think in the comments. Good luck to everybody. Let's get paid. Toodles.